Let's solve some crime. Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Apollo Justice. Ace Attorney, last time we did some more investigation. Apparently there's a Borginian smuggling ring that Maki might be a part of. And Lamoire was attacked. So yeah, things are getting really interesting. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting is over, sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy, we're leaving. Darian, wait! I never liked you. Either of you. Huh? We just spell it out. Like, yeah, I'm the villain. Now we're so close. Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Maki had to say. And I think I know why. Trying to bring down a little justice. Did someone just get shot in the courtroom? What was that? Or maybe not. He is heard but unseen. Who's that talking? Oh, wow. Valiant Grammary. Using the door like an average muggle, no less. Wow, Harry Potter reference. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valiant? Preposterous proposition. How could I stand to stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I'd even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Ooh, with vanishing magic? Indeed! I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. Before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? The Grand Grammary glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. A glamour? A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. It's true, see, though it pains me to part so. I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell. Well, that was totally necessary. And there he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things like people or elephants or the Eiffel Tower or anything, really. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Lamar's disappearing act, and Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. I wonder what he meant by it being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Excuse me, sir? Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the inconvenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is a first? It was by the judge's request. Some urgent personal business. Great. I bet he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. The Chief Justice's son? Oh, that's right. Remember yesterday morning? The judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care to read about it yourself. Why was that added to the court record? Oh. Yo, what? Article about the Chief Justice's son who's inflicted with incuritis. First case in the country. Wait, was Darian trying to intercept the smuggled stuff to help the Chief Justice's son? I'm confused. Incuritis, where have I heard that before? I'm so confused. I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. Just leave the TV Guide page to me. Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of... how do you say his name again? Makito Bay, our suspect fortissimo. Right. It's his trial in any case. The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No. Well, yes. It's just, I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. Incuritis, was it? That article said there is no known cure. Herr Judge, let me say with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law. Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday. I asked Interpol about that number, IPXX314206. They didn't register under this number. It was Romain Latouche. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Hold it! Wait, that voice just meowed. It was him. I am sure of it. It was him? That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latouche when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darian. No way. Quite the sensational ending. Who would have thought Darian would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Darian Crescent is a member of my band, the Gaviners. He's also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet, after investigation, I have found no cause to alter a case or file new charges. Yeah, of course you haven't. You know, police investigating police. Like, oh, you think I stole money? Well, I will investigate. Okay, after investigating myself, I have determined that I did not steal the money. Yeah. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Hair Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? Let's review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Gaviners ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lemoire, and Mahi, along with a drummer and bassist for a total of 5. This text is going fast. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the 3rd set. Lemoire and the defendant, Maki Tobe, had left the stage at that point, and the Gaviners were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Sky, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lemoire herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say, she heard the moment of the crime. But she claims to have heard Mr. Latouche and Detective Crescent talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was... Precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage getting his groove on, no less. Voila. A perfect alibi. Does the defense have anything to add to this? It's true. When I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up. It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darian Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged. Which means that Lemoire was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well. Of course we disregard her testimony. I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections... Uh-oh, Apollo. If he declares a verdict now... Ack! Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lemoire might have been lying to protect Maki. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait. Well, yesterday in the detention center. Yeah. About the case. What about the case? Wants to tell us about Mr. Latouche's death? This meeting's over. Yeah, because he's trying to hide something, yo. Darian? Maki was trying to tell us something, I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him. Under oath. Very well, the court finds the defendant, or what was his name again? Your Honor. No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marky, or Mr. Justice? Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I'd like to call another witness. Exactly, who else do you need to hear from? A witness who until now has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Yeah, it seems like a pretty big oversight to not let the, key suspect testify. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean... I do. The defense calls defendant Maki Tobe to the stand. What? But he doesn't speak English. We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases such as, I love you, and where's the toilet? The defense would like to request Lamoire as the interpreter. Lamoire? There's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? This is most unusual. I mean, she'd be under oath, so y'all don't really have to worry about that. I mean, granted, that doesn't stop people from lying, but, you know, contempt of court and whatnot. Bravo, hair forehead. Here, Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lamoire lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I see little cause for refusal. Finally, some progress. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lamoire to the witness stand. That is a crowded stand. Suppose there is a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with, if you would, Lamoire. Yes. Oh my god. The fact that they, converse with each other, that is such a good touch. He says Maki Tobe, the defendant. It's certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good. Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would. Huh? If I would what, Your Honor? Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about? What I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. Oh my god. Apollo! Aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak. Yes, Lamoire? Just now, Maki said there is something about which he wishes to testify. Maki wants to testify about something. What sort of testimony is he talking about? One moment, please. Alright, the suspense is killing me. What? 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 Well, Lamoire? According to Maki, he has proof of his innocence. What? This is a surprise. Yahoo! Victory, Apollo! We did it! This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means. Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Maki. Please testify to the court. Very well. Alright, Bubba. It's your freaking time. Don't blow it. Please. He says that word of Mr. Latus's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, that is, he could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. It would prevent him from following them so closely. I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lamoire to know the meaning of that song. Lamoire, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him, generally, what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. Has my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead? Lamar might be protecting the witness. Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony. I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. Ooh, who am I going to be looking at, though, for this? But also... wasn't he with them when they were composing the song? No. Let's look a little closer on this. His eyes were moving. The sunglasses, my dude.
Gotcha!
I'm glad it started off on him. But yeah, I was gonna like look for anything he might be giving away, and then I would see if she was like swallowing again, like, oh no, I'm lying. Maki, you can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment Lamar said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that, he understands me. Maki, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? That would explain why he was like responding in certain ways when we were in the interrogation room. What are you saying? Of course he can't. I mean, you can understand phrases of a language without being able to speak it fluently yourself. You know? Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Maki says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned the name for this language. That is all. What? Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but... I am sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? I mean, I would hope... Oh... That is a good call, though, because at no point would she have been with him while he was in custody to explain that to him. And we've only called her here now to interpret for him in the interrogation room and here. So by all means, he shouldn't have known that. It is simple, so simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? Organian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. It doesn't mention the lyrics of Lamar's ballad. Okay. They have already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right. What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Maki is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. Just making sure it doesn't mention the lyrics. I have here a Burgundian newspaper, the Burgundian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Maki? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Maki. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Burgundian newspaper. My dude, are you swearing? This is a family-friendly channel, goddammit. What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in the courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain herself, or himself. Maki says, he says... Yes? It is true, I read the newspaper, but this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lamoire? Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. And it looks like Herr Forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. It seems so, yes. No. No. I was on to something, I know it. I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today. Mr. Justice, are you finished with the cross-examination? What are you going to do, Apollo? If you want to keep on cross-examining, I'd better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet is still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue. If you must, you must. Very well, witness? I understand. Jump cut. Okay, maybe I can do this now. As I would explain that the crime followed the song. When? Exactly how much did you explain to Maki? This is a question for me, yes? This interpretation thing is getting old fast. I told him that Mr. Latouche had been killed and why he was a suspect. And I told him the crimes of that day followed my song. Did you mention any particular words of the song relating to the case, such as heart? Yes, of course I explained this. He was quite surprised. Yay! I knew he was innocent. I believe he is too, Trucy, I do. What's wrong, Apollo? You got a tummy ache or something? Something's hidden in that testimony. If it's the truth, I'll find it. So English does not fully understand them. Okay. Why is she not moving her mouth then? That is such a weird... I cannot believe... Okay. Lemoire. I'm currently cross-examining Maki. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you saw at the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there's little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lemoire, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lemoire, you're protecting... Maki. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Maki, I believe you didn't do it, really. I trust you. But you've lied to us twice. And now you have Lemoire lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. We got him! That was an English scream. That wasn't a Burgundian scream. Witness, is this true? Do you understand English? Yes, a little only. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lemoire? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? This is... Maki, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk, manager, he on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there is voice. Voice or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Maki went to the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel, high up. I take off. Run away. Run away. So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has held all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor. Already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you say? I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Let's ask Mr. Justice. We require any further testimony from the witness. Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait. No, of course there is. What is this cocoon anyway? The cocoon, the silk is a potent cure. A cure? Omaki, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Maki, please tell us the truth for your own sake. No. No more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, Air Forehead. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we're likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed. Interesting. Okay. Apollo Eustace. That's justice, but I don't know how to say it if you ever want to get some. Believe. I know shooting. Maki claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it? Suddenly, I hear a revolver. Close. Very close. Then, I hear a voice. You heard gunshots? Yes, it's true. I hear a revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went to the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead, and then you heard Oh. There's no exact time of death. There was a 30-minute window. He could have, like, got him during intermission and then had the gunshots play. There's no exact time. Interesting. If that's true. So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots? And you escaped through the air vent. I know. Huh? What do you know? I know if I open vent, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area. Is that what he means? Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo. Huh? Yeah. How'd you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something. I hear this from Magician. Magician? Don't look at me. A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Maki didn't shoot Mr. Latouche. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? You're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? That one's going to go over well in court. Not. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. I'll just pretend you misheard him. Every time. Don't believe lies. So, what do? You're sure you won't testify, Maki? No talking, no. Well, it was worth a shot. That cocoon. I can't go home. Can't go home? I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon for Virginia is death. That's right. It's punishable by death. Of course he's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's your plan? It's gonna be scare tactics, isn't it? If Maki won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right. Okay, well maybe not scare tactics then. Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant? Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. Very well. So will he testify? Your Honor, the defendant will not testify. What? Shame. And here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, It is. Defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor. A different angle? If Maki won't testify, I know who will. I'd like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lamoire. Lamoire?
Objection!
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lamoire's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lamoire was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor. Assaulted? Someone wanted Lamoire dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I've heard no such report. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill Lamoire? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think? I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Lamoire's testimony. A nugget we have yet to uncover? Exactly. If Lamoire was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lamoire's testimony once more. Lamoire, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Maki is innocent. And I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window. And that the voice belonged to Darian Crescent, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice? I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is. It seems much you do not know. And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court? Of course, Your Honor. What I heard. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window. Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony. I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. Then it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lamoire was attacked because of this testimony. What, Trucy? Apollo? You know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness? So on way from stage to the backstage exit, I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. Darian Crescent. I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him, the one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There is no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene... Oh, because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. Did you hear anything else? Did you happen to hear anything else at that time? Anything else? Anything else besides the victim and the shooter's conversation? Anything at all? Because I doubt she would be able to, like, know exactly what they were talking about. That's quite the vague question. Other than the conversation, I heard a clock ticking, the two men breathing, footsteps. That is all. Nothing new there, as expected. I was hoping for a little more than that. Perhaps we should just carry on with the cross-examination. As you wish. Then let's go back then. Maybe you picked up on some key words? Lamar, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I have given it much reflection, but... I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? Why are you sweating, my dude? Do you remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it, the clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. The shooter, then. Darian Crescent. Well, what did he say? It's over. Press the switch. Now. Switch? And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche? I thought it quite strange myself, afterward. It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? I mean, sure. I'd be delighted. It's very, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo? It's been what I heard a voice say, press the switch now. And it was Detective Darian Crescent's voice. Yes, I am sure of it. It's over, press the switch. Why would he say that to Mr. Latouche? Apollo. The murder weapon, a revolver with Mr. Latouche's, right? Yeah, what of it? Well, maybe when he said press the switch, he really meant to say pull the trigger. Because his English isn't so good. Darian Crescent is a native speaker. Oh. Alright, sorry, I kind of forgot who was what. Press the switch. It's not something a killer usually says to their victim, is it? Was there no one else in the room? I do not know. All I heard was Mr. Latouche and the detective. Press the switch. This is the only switch I can think of. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh? Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch, save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene, but it just so happens I have a switch right here. It certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage. You're claiming that the voice Lamoire heard was of someone commanding another to press the switch? One quick jump cut. Alright, back. It's a possibility. Oh, hair forehead. I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from Lamoire's dressing room. Not to mention that the Governors were in the middle of a concert on said stage. They aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So too have Herr Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said, or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on the stage from the dressing room. It would have to be this, and it was on the ground. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this. I was about to say the speaker that was in the room. But why that's... What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? This is a type of transmitter, a communications device. Communications? Device? From what I've heard, that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually, they're for talking between band members. They all had one on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. Objection! True, but wait, we'll send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. Lamar said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Ah, exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be! So when Lamar heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage. Objection! Ha! You're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said press the switch. Well, I guess we don't. Unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where this switch was, there's little point in debating it. Ugh. I was sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about this switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning this switch. Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Justice? I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is. Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking this switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is? Easy. It sets off the igniter. Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this? Ach, that's that. That what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones? This is an igniter. What phone looks like this? Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying this switch is a remote? I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. Yo, Mr. Justice, you'll cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I'd expected. My whiskers had caught on fire. Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Ah, exactly. The night of the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance. Wasn't it part of the stage show, though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. The guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right. He got it in Virginia from Lamoire. He said the sound was amazing before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Hair forehead. Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by Lamoire, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense. Though something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really? Seems pretty simple to me. Objection! Hair forehead. Don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong. What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin? His simple story simply makes no sense. Think. That night my guitar caught fire, yes? The cause may have been this indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. That's right, of course. Guitar caught fire during Lamoire's song. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated. This must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty. See? His story makes no sense. Objection! Are you sure about that? What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. One more jump cut. Okay, please, can I finish this now? Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. What premise is this specifically? I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act. Objection! What's this? But Detective Emma Skye heard shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act. Gunshots rang out, and according to his testimony, Maki was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony. Namely, that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane. Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote trigger igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act. What? We got him. Order! 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 But that goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honor? This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of the song, yes? Hey, he's right. Look. I mean, it's just like the third trial in Danganronpa 2? You know, oh, it followed this exactly. It followed this series of events. Well, how do you know the time frame was right? The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Wait a minute. And back. Look. Why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through. with little merit for the person doing it. Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason. Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. You're saying the order was reversed on purpose? Reversed? Prosecutor Gavin? If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet Hair Forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way. Right, it was just to create an alibi, like the third case in Danganronpa 2. Order, order, order! That would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi, see? In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second. I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic, for it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction, Hair Forehead, when I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lamar have heard a voice through it? Oh. I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right. Lamar's testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch. And near the crime scene we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. Then the crime scene was investigated immediately after the crime. That window was closed. Care to tell us how Lamar heard the voice? A key point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court? It was open prior, that's obvious. Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lamar heard a voice, and she heard it during the second set. Think, how was Lamar able to hear the voice? The window was open. Obviously the window was open. It had to be for her to hear the voice. Objection! News bulletin, Hair Forehead. That horse is dead. Stop beating it for all of our sakes. That window was closed. This is a hard fact reported by the investigation team. But... oh, you have evidence to the contrary, perhaps? Well, no, but... then do be quiet. I'm tired of this charade. Oh... but it could have been during the second set. Well, then this is the only other option. She was somewhere else. We investigated the scene. The window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it had it been open either, meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. Ah, it's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment I was afraid you might be a Burgundian too. As I was saying, Lamar could not hear the voice through that window, so there can be only one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. What's this? You do amuse me so. And here I thought you and Good Sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you and Good Sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret for you, Hair Forehead? Lamar clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window. And there was only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? Huh, I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well, you claim Lamar heard the voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. Well then... up here. An air vent. Does this look like a small window to you, Mr. Justice? The state of modern society can be read from numerous objects and artifacts. In a sense, anything can be a window on our society. Oh my god. I didn't ask you to point out a window in society. I want a window on the crime scene. Alright. What other small window? Oh, duh. This air vent, then. I couldn't really select it. This is where Lamar heard that voice from. But that's no small window. That's the air vent. Right idea, wrong location. I didn't see the arrow at the bottom. What did she tell us? She said she's a Burgundian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window. Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So Lamar was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? That's the only logical explanation, yes? Logical. I do not think this vert means what you think it means, Hair Forehead. Okay, what about it isn't logical? Ha, it hardly merits saying. Why would Lamar be in the ventilation system, hiding like a rat? No offense intended to her, of course. Explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lamar? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit, it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? I fear a prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. Irk. The problem here is words. Lamar, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What? Order! Order! I will have order! Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you in fact saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room, and that's where you heard the moment of the crime? Yes, in fact I was. I am sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. I'm not sure, I can't. May I remind you, this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of that room. Please. Well, looks like I'm on the right track. Because of the magic trick, yo. Yes, I was above the ceiling. I heard the voice. I had heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter. The magic trick. Bound to secrecy? In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. But you say you were in the middle of your performance. So this did happen during the second set.
I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard.
Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail.
That's what the cross-examination is for, yeah, Hair Forehead. Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission.
Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination.
What are you going to do, Apollo?
I'm going to find out the truth. She was up above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her.
It's simple. Just think.
Was there a small window there before? My performance, I had no time to report what I heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. She probably won't tell me if I press on that. So who told you there was a window there? By a small window, you mean the air vent.
I only remembered I needed to be careful where I put my hands and feet. I cannot see the light coming through the window, of course.
The air vent grate could trip you up, certainly.
So I was walking very carefully when I heard the gunshots. Startled, I crouched and listened. That is when I heard his voice come from the room.
Darian's voice.
I knew something terrible had happened, yet...
You heard the gunshots during the second set, during your performance. You're quite sure?
Yes. Why would I lie about the time?
Why didn't you tell us this yesterday?
No one asked me. I thought you all knew. I told you Maki was not the killer. I told you this many times.
Yes, you did. But you never told us why.
I am sorry. I was not able to speak of it.
Unable or unwilling?
She's not talking, Apollo. What do we do?
We'll just have to prove it ourselves. As long as she is bound by this pact of silence, she won't talk. But if I can prove why she was up there, she'll have to admit it.
How are you going to do that? She was singing on the stage, Apollo. She couldn't have been up above the ceiling, too.
Yes, she could. I've got a theory as to why, too. Maybe I've got the evidence to prove it. I do? That's the only thing. It shows when she disappeared. Did I press on this? Oh, okay, maybe not. Exactly who bound you to secrecy?
I'm not sure I'm allowed to say who it was. No, I think perhaps that it is alright. It is just a name after all. It was Valent Grammary. Perhaps you know him?
Valent Grammary? What?
You mean Uncle Valent?
What? Valent Grammary? Who's Valent Grammary?
A grand magician, one responsible for the illusion performed during our concert.
Interesting reaction, Prosecutor Gavin. Lamar was bound to secrecy. It's going to take some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there, but how do I prove it? Guess I present this then. This evidence clearly reveals a contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. How exactly are the evidence in the statement just now related? They aren't, are they? Oh my god. I don't have anything else that's related to Grammary.
That was the only thing. Maybe I present it here then. There we go. Lamar, truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance.
What happened?
Yes, it's all right here on this video. As we can see, Lamar was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic, Lamar is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view, and during that time she moved to the back of the forum.
Apollo!
What, Trucy?
It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules.
But I'm a lawyer, not supposed to be nice. This is all very fascinating. How is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert. This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha! He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage to the backstage to the rear of the forum. Recall Lamar's testimony from yesterday. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. Perfect description of the route above the ceiling. Lamar knew of this because of her part in the illusion. But she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Maki told me something. I know. Oh, if I open the vent, I can leave stage and backstage. He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. Yet, I had no idea the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lamar to secrecy. Well, Lamar?
I'm impressed, Mr. Attorney. Maki was right about you.
So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling?
I did.
Well, that's that. But I'm still a little confused. Why is that, Your Honor? I said before, there was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds tops. How did she go so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. That's a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court?
I cannot.
Very well, Mr. Justice? Yes? It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honor? You need to explain how Lamar was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. Ugh. Why do I get picked on? It's Lamar who isn't going along with the program here.
As I have stated before,
I'm not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail.
Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her.
Yes, if you would please.
Alright. I feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo. This would never hold up in a court of law. Like, ooh, I bound to secrecy by a magician, please. The big illusion.
I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There was an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice.
2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens. I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. As is my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lamar is saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I'm a magician after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here. This 2 minutes thing, though. 2 minutes?
Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running.
Running? In that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling?
Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me.
That's true, but... So we were saying that on the night of the concert, you made the trip in 2 minutes?
Yes, I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway.
Lamar disappears on the video for 20 seconds. But she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer is right there in that video. Oh, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us? Let me watch this again just to make sure. I have no clue. Maybe a body double? Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony? Eck. Evidence explain the discrepancy. Maybe I can talk above a whisper now. This was the one thing I can think of, and that's why I was watching the video back, just to see if you could see, like, if she had the brooch on at the end of the video. But they left the camera angles so perfectly so that you couldn't make that out. But there is the fact that this was found in her dressing room, so would that be enough? Oh yeah, I didn't even say, yeah, present evidence. There's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between video and testimony. How she could be in the video, but still have witnessed the crime. This was there. Alright. Lamar, do you happen to remember this brooch? Aha! The brooch! We saw that yesterday, did we not? It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now, Vi? I thought we had already determined when that was dropped. So did I, but we hadn't. Take another look at the video. Right, she had it at this point. Are they gonna try to mess with me because, like, you cannot see it from the angles they show you in the, like, later portion of the video. Here you can see she's wearing the brooch. So she is. Let's look a bit later. Her hair is in the way from that angle. You can't... That's... What? The brooch is going... I'm sorry. The angle is way too high up in the actual video. I'm not insane, because that is exactly what I was looking for. Okay, it's like a split second. A split second, but it... I guess you can sort of see it, like, higher up on her neck. I mean, I got it right. I'm just mad at, like, the amount of time it took me to piece it together. I had it right the first time, but alright. What? Yes. The brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can be only one explanation. The Lamoire we see before the Vanishing Act and the Lamoire we see after are two different people. Body double? I mean, that did cross my mind, but when would the switch have happened? She was already waiting under the stage? Or when it started lifting up? I don't know. What? What? The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lamoire, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. Order! Prosecutor Gavin! From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Herr Judge. I, of course, knew about it. What? Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So, I was right? There was a switch? There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, Lamoire was replaced. While we're on the subject, just who was this replacement, Lamoire? Why, the man behind the illusion, Valant Gramarye. This Gramarye? That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on stage. That's right, but this fake Lamoire is still singing, and she's pretty good. Why was the text going so fast? That's true. Come on, Apollo. That's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Gaviners aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein. Oh, you mean I'm wrong? Quiet again. When we play a show live, we play live, no recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Lamoire? Very well. Yes, do tell, and add it to your testimony. To keep singing even while I moved. You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings, so I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling toward the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing, when everywhere I go is the same darkness? But if you were singing while you were walking... That's right, wouldn't the shooter and victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads, after all. That is right. Are you sure? You had to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? Heck, I know what he means. An old speaker, Apollo. The speaker? The speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. Ah, that's for monitoring the stage from this room. Monitoring? It pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones, useful for knowing when your set is coming up. Satisfied? A dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage.
At my request, actually. So Lemoire singing in the ceiling. Sounded just like Lemoire singing over the speaker. Ingenious! Her voice was hidden by her voice. Lemoire? I just remembered something. Do tell. I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing.
What?
I forgot the words I was supposed to sing.
The song stopped? Thought it might have been the whoa whoa, but that was written in there.
Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice.
Forehead. That mixing board I lent you, where is it? The mixing... Huh?
That machine, Apollo. The one that breaks music into tracks.
Oh, this. I'd completely forgotten about it. Let's take a listen. Have my headset off. Oh, I can't do... okay. That song does stop there. It does? Must have missed it. Look at the lyrics sheet at the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lemoire's ballad. I never even thought to look at the lyric sheet with what she was saying, but that's just like a minor thing, just one word. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter, which means that Darian Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? Fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? Herr Forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lemoire's testimony. Yes? Is there a problem with that? This, rather, was quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof. All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself. The man? You don't mean... Yes. Though he is a friend and band member, Darian Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way. As someone with a new perspective on the case? As a suspect, to be frank. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. And I'm ready to catch him. Darian Crescent, get ready for justice. This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin. I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well, court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess. There's an ice cream truck outside. And this trial will be continued next time. We got him on the ropes. And I'm ready. Also, this is going to be a nightmare to edit. Hopefully my sort of whispering close to the microphone will be loud enough to be over the audio. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time for some more Let's Play Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Goodbye.